Okay, so we're going to talk about some of our more complicated building techniques, and I'm going to start off with a circle. Now, I kind of wish I could do air quotations so that you guys could see. This isn't necessarily a pure circle. Obviously, we are going to have to bend our toothpicks a little bit in order to make this happen. Now, this is a tricky technique because obviously these toothpicks are prone to breaking. So there's a very real possibility that you are going to end up with a bunch of broken toothpicks and not a complete circle. So if you find that you're wasting a lot of time on this, think back to that ATL skill of self-management and decide, is this really the most effective use of my time based on when my deadline is and what my other assignments are? And if you find you're wasting too much time trying to make circles, perhaps it's time to rethink what we are doing with our piece. So in order to make a circle, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. Kind of gently, not using a massive, I'm still using force here, but I'm not snapping it clean in half. I'm kind of doing a series of small little micro breaks in order to make my circle. And again, the more that you futz with this, the more this is likely to break on you. And you may find that you need like 3 of these or 4 of these, depending on the size of your circle. So I'm going to go through that again. Just a gentle, it's not all that gentle. I guess I shouldn't say the word gentle, because I am using quite a significant amount of force here. But again, that force is kind of controlled so that I can make a curve. And then I will show you how to glue these together. Okay, so we have a circle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little glue on this one, try to match those 2 sections up. This is where it becomes kind of the challenge, because we're trying to make a circle. Maybe this, matching those little bent sections up can be a bit of a challenge. And we don't need like a full one here, so let's see. Maybe we could get away with taking off that small corner. Doing it that way, I think that's gonna work. Again, it is gonna depend on how you have snapped your pieces. There we go, we have a circle. Now I think I did like 3.5 toothpicks there. This is when I was trying to do it with just one toothpick and one toothpick. And you can see, of course, I have bent it a little bit. It's still a little bit on the pliable side because of those bends in the wood. Of course, this looks a bit more geometric. This looks like a bit more angular, and this one looks a bit more rounded. So again, gotta make sure that's staying in place. I think I might need just a little bit more glue there. Okay. so that is one technique for making circles. The second technique is, if you can believe it, more time consuming. Yes, more time consuming. And it's going to require you to soak some toothpicks in water. These have actually been soaking for quite a few days. I did start with hot water when I put these in the when I put the toothpicks in. And then what I did was I jammed them into a bottle cap. And so when I pull these out, you can see that that is a curve. I need a little help getting this one out if I can get it out at all. I thought the bottle cap would work nicely. Now I know that like you may have something else that's round that will help hold them in place. Of course, now that I'm on camera, of course, I can't get this bloody thing out. Yep, can't get that out. Okay, well, we'll get it out here in a moment. I did want to show you let's see if I can, how I did that. So I actually was trying this out with a measuring cup, so this is like my quarter cup measure. These obviously aren't quite as perfectly circular, but what you can do, I'm going to show you because it's a little bit easier than trying to get it into that bottle cap, is you can start to give the wood a little bend. It's got a little bit more malleability, so I just pulled this right from the water. So you can see that it's bending without it snapping. And so that way I can put it, kind of slide it down into that bottom there. You see that, see, this is the problem. They like to pop out because, you know, they're wood and they want to go back to that straight shape. So it is a bit tricky. I don't know that I love this technique, but I did want to throw it out there if some of you guys find it to be the way that you would like to do that. Okay, so I finally managed to go get a sharper implement, a stronger implement to get that second one out. Now, one of the things that's interesting is now we kind of have these, you know, almost 3/4 circle things. You could even, you know, maybe do something that is a bit more abstract here. So, you know, you could interlock these somehow on your composition and use them as line design. Again, it's a time-consuming undertaking to bend these toothpicks using the water. It does look really nice. I mean, this one in particular happened to turn out fantastic. This one snapped a little. So you can see that it's a time-consuming thing. So think about that ATL skill of time management or self-management and how it's going to impact your work. But, you know, maybe as an accent here and there, this could be super interesting. So, for example, here I have this. If I was to, you know, maybe glue this off the side or glue this down here as some sort of like, you know, line design element, that could be really, really interesting. Or if I did, you know, something along those lines, you know, really thinking about how if I did have these pieces at my disposal, how I could use them with my line design. I even have some of the ones that I was breaking earlier as part of practice. You could use that as line design, you know, including that into your final piece. Because remember, line design is something that you need to do. So let's talk about adding one element to another element. So let's say I have this and I am looking to maybe put that on top, or perhaps I want to glue, you know, something along those lines, or I could even glue this on the side. You know, you will probably need some sort of, you know, structure to help hold it in place. And of course I put one of my toothpick containers back. But you may find that, you know, when you're gluing, if you do have access to hot glue, this might be a point in which you want to hot glue those two together because it will dry quicker. But you absolutely could glue these two pieces together using, you know, some supports. So for example, I would probably need to figure out a support system and glue them like this to put them together. Remember, this is really up to you. So like building a structure and then building off that structure. Well, that's kind of interesting. I like that concept there. You know, you could build a whole bunch of different triangle or pyramid pieces and fit them together in a variety of interesting ways. Okay, let's talk line design. So one of the things that you will need to do is to add some line design to your work. And this is where a lot of these pieces that you have created will definitely come into play. So, you know, if you're looking to do some line design across this, I'm actually gonna need more glue here. I'm going to put a little glue at this corner, and I'm going to put a little glue at this corner. That way I can start to do that. And then I'm actually going to pull that off real quick. I'm going to use that glue as a mark so that I know where I want to trim this. I would recommend not trimming anything off your structure. This is very easily snapped, your structures, regardless of how strong they look. And it would be very, very easy for you to break your structure because you were trying to cut something off of it. So I would not do that. That would be a poor decision. So again, your line design, this is entirely up to you. If you would like to make some sort of pattern, you can make your pattern very detailed. And remember, detailed patterns don't have to be complicated. I mean, it could just be that you are doing series of, you know, overlapping lines. So again, I'm using the glue as my guide a bit here. And look, now I've started to create line design on that piece. You don't have to use the glue technique, you can just measure it off too. Again, I always recommend trimming over a garbage can so that you don't see a ton of these items all over your workspace. And then maybe I'm going to go back through and I'm going to do some lines across this way. So see what I mean by it starting to get more complicated. Oh, it's a funky little looking toothpick. Again, a really simple design that's quite intricate. I mean, you could even go further. Try not to knock everything off here. These are just some ideas, of course. Got quite the house of cards built up here since I didn't glue anything down. you know, even, I mean, we're going to do a full crosshatch here. You know, and you could do something like that. Again, look at some of the examples that we have given you in the PowerPoint presentation or the Google Slide presentation. Think about your line design from last semester, some of those line designs that we did in your process journal, and use those as inspiration.